the famous Russian author, experienced a severe existential crisis. On the surface, he seemed to have everything in life. He had a wife, he had a family, he had wealth, and he had succeeded in his career, having just written the War and Peace. But still, there was something missing in his life, and he was asking himself, why should I live? What real, indestructible essence will come out from this phantasmal, destructible life? Especially after his brother's death, he started to realize that we are all going to be dying sooner or later, so what's the point of struggling? What's the point of doing anything? And this talk and he was unable to find any good answer to a question, which meant that when he described this period later on in his diary, he said that as long as he was unable to find the answer to the question of why, my life stopped and I wanted to destroy myself. And this question of meaning of life is as relevant today as it was 200 years ago. In fact, it could be even more relevant today because of a certain paradox as regards this meaning of life. Many of our life's most meaningful moments are moments when we are present in the present moment and not thinking about any future-oriented goals. So the significance is the most fundamental question we can ask about meaning in life. Meaning in life is about making yourself meaningful to other people. So the way that my life becomes meaningful is when I'm feeling that I'm able to somehow be meaningful to other people. And there's basically two different ways that I can be meaningful to other people and I can connect to other people. That firstly, I can connect to other people through this sense of relatedness. That when I have some deep relationships in my life, these are usually very meaningful. When I'm with my loved ones, when I'm with my family, when I'm with my friends, they are what usually gives my life meaning. And also, because of our deep relationship, I can be meaningful to them by being there.
A lot of the things that we do that make life worth living, raising children, for instance, doesn't necessarily make us happy. Not in the short run. In the long run, yes. In the short run, absolutely not. It's hard work. Why do we do it? Because it's the right thing, not just because it puts a momentary smile on our face or makes us feel gleeful. Happiness is a product of our pursuits, not necessarily the pursuit of happiness per se, but the pursuit of other things that make life worth living. So if you take very seriously your work or your family or your community, if you pursue the good in those domains, guess what? You're going to be happy as a result. Now the other route, it's probably related, is to have a sense of meaning and purpose about your life, to see yourself as connected to something larger than yourself. Now, for some folks, their religion can provide a sense of meaning and purpose.
Being requires limitation and suffering. There's no escape from that. But there are modes of being that allow that to be perhaps even more than tolerable. Perhaps there are modes of being that allow that to be good. And it's a straight and narrow road. It's a very difficult road to tread. So I think, well, that's possible. I'm not an optimist by nature. But that's one of the things that I've conceptualized and read about that I actually find plausible, because it's certainly the case, everyone knows this, that there are ways that you can act that make things worse. Everyone knows that. And so if that's the case, there has to be the opposite, right? There has to be ways that you could act that make things better, and obviously you can act in ways that make things really way worse. And so the question is, well, are there ways that you can act that make things really much better? And I think that's the question, is can we have our cake and eat it too? Can we have the being that requires limitation and suffering, and also simultaneously transcend that by our mode of being?
And to give you hope that there's glory on the other side of all this pain. There's purpose in the pain of this life. And right now, you can have meaning in the midst of the mundane. You can wake up every day with a sense of purpose, not purposelessness. That's when life is worth living, when you realize life is hard. Life is filled with pain, but you can rejoice even in the suffering because life is worth living. The person of Christ has come to give us hope of glory. And when we take his pursuit as our own, his purposes as our purposes, His will is our work. He will empower us, He will use us, and we will rejoice in that opportunity.